All right, let's jump right in. Today, we are tackling a classic networking debate. It's one that has stumped even seasoned pros for years. We're talking about the civil war happening inside the IPsec security suite between two protocols, AH and ESP.
Okay, so here's the heart of it. The whole mystery really comes down to this one simple, totally logical question. And this isn't from a textbook. This was pulled from a real-world discussion between network engineers. On the surface, it looks like one protocol, ESP, should make the other one, AH, completely useless. But is that the whole story? Let's dig in.
To really get this, we've got to meet our two main characters, the authentication header, or AH, and the encapsulating security payload, ESP. And you know, the easiest way to think about them is like two totally different ways to secure a package you're sending in the mail.
So first up, we've got H. Its entire job is about proof. It's all about data integrity, proving the data hasn't been messed with in transit, and data origin authentication, proving it actually came from who you think it came from. It also gives you anti-replay protection, so some attacker can't just snatch your packets and send them again later.
And then there's ESP. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because ESP can do everything AH does. Yep, authentication and integrity, but it adds that one huge feature everyone thinks of when they hear security, confidentiality. ESP encrypts the data, scrambling it into total nonsense, so if anyone intercepts it, all they see is gibberish.
So let's go back to that package analogy, because it really makes it click. AH is like a super high-tech, tamper-evident seal on a box. It doesn't hide what's inside, not at all, but it absolutely guarantees the contents are untouched and that it came from the right place. ESP, on the other hand, it takes your whole package and locks it inside a solid steel case. It hides everything, and, just for good measure, it can have its own seal on the outside too.
All right, let's put these two head-to-head. When you actually list out the features side by side, the reason for our big question becomes crystal clear.
This table just lays the whole mystery bare, doesn't it? I mean, look. Authentication, both have it. Integrity and anti-replay, check and check. But then you get to confidentiality, the encryption part, and AH has nothing. ESP, it seems, does the whole shebang. So I'll ask it again. Why would anyone ever choose the protocol with fewer features? To solve this, we actually have to do a little bit of time traveling. We have to look back at why IPsec was designed this way in the first place. The answer isn't just in the feature list. It's buried in history and one very, very specific technical detail. So when IPsec was being cooked up back in the 90s, computer processing power wasn't, well, it was nothing like what we have today, especially on network gear. Encryption was computationally expensive. It took a lot of horsepower. So the architects of IPsec made a really smart choice. They split authentication from encryption. This gave network admins a lighter option, AH, for times when you just needed to verify who sent the data, like for routing updates, but you didn't need the extra overhead of making it secret.
But it's not just a history lesson. AH has one unique technical superpower. It authenticates the entire packet, and that includes the unchangeable parts of the outer IP header. ESP? Well, it protects the original packet, sure, but it wraps it up inside a new packet, and it doesn't authenticate that new outer header. This is AH's one claim to fame. It gives a stronger guarantee that the packet's source address is legit.
So, AH has a historical reason for being here and one unique technical strength. Case closed. AH is still useful, right? Well, not so fast. Because that one unique strength is the very thing that makes it almost completely unusable on the internet today.
And the technology that changed everything is Network Address Translation, or NAT. This is the magic that lets your entire home or office network with dozens, maybe hundreds of devices, all share one single public IP address. It's an absolutely fundamental piece of how the modern internet works.
And here it is, the knockout punch. Remember AH's superpower? Authenticating that IP header? Well, a NAT router's entire job is to rewrite that exact same header. So, the moment an AH-protected packet hits a NAT device, the address gets changed, the integrity check instantly fails, and bam, the packet gets dropped. It's gone. ESP, however, because it doesn't authenticate that outer header, just sails right through NAT without a single problem.
And that really brings us to the modern-day consensus, which was summed up perfectly by this user in that original discussion. For pretty much any practical purpose on today's networks, you just use ESP. AH is really just a history lesson at this point.
So the bottom line is this. while AH was born from a real need for efficiency, and it technically has a slight edge in one very specific type of authentication. The way the internet evolved, specifically the rise of NAT, made ESP the one and only practical choice for secure communication across networks.
To really hammer this point home, let's see how this all plays out in the real world. We just need to quickly look at the two ways IPsec operates: transport mode and tunnel mode.
Let's break these down real quick. In transport mode, you're just protecting the data inside an IP packet, leaving that original header alone. This is great for two computers talking directly on the same private network. But in tunnel mode, you take the entire original packet and you wrap it up inside a brand new one. This is the magic behind pretty much every VPN you've ever used.
And this is where it all clicks into place. The number one reason most of us even use IPsec is for VPNs, which almost always operate in tunnel mode to connect us across the public internet. By definition, that means crossing who knows how many NAT devices along the way. Because ESP can handle NAT and AH just flat out can't, ESP is the only protocol that can power the most critical, most common use for IPsec today.
So in the end, AHA is this fascinating piece of internet history. It's a ghost of a past internet, one that was simpler and a lot less complicated. And it's a fantastic reminder that the best technology on paper doesn't always win. The winner is the one that actually adapts to the world as it is. Which leaves us with a final thought. What other ghosts, what other legacy ideas are hiding in your own security stack? Thanks for joining me.